Hey all, next episode of Chat E. Here we are on the official 16th episode, which is so crazy. Kind of gotten into the regimen of things and making this super consistent, having so much fun with it, feeling so much more comfortable. So I'm so glad to be in this place now. Guest for tonight has a lot of really great knowledge and a lot of really cool stories to tell, so I'm super thrilled that we were able to connect. Hi Val, how are you? Yeah. Hi Gabe, hi everyone, thanks for joining. It's always, I feel like Sunday comes around so quickly and all of a sudden we're just like ready to go. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I've been laying so low-key, it's crazy recently. But, you know. I'm good, how are you? Hi everyone. Glad to have you all here. Guest for tonight is about to join and we will get this going and it will be awesome. So happy. Don't think she's gotten on quite yet, but she will in a second and then we will be good to go. Oh, here we go. Got it. Okay, perfect. Glad that you're pretty good. We have to make plans to get together soon, Gabe. Sorry, I just sent you the request, so you should be able to sign on. It says it's waiting for you. As long as you're on the live, we should be good to go. There we go.
Yay!
Hello, good evening. How are you?
Right.
What'd you say?
I was wondering if I did it right because it's my first live.
Oh, girl, you are great. I didn't see your name pop up, so I was scrolling through and then look at my hair, and then I found you. So you're good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am really good. Thank you for asking. Hanging in there. The weekend goes by so quickly.
That is very true.
Have school tomorrow. Work tomorrow already. Where am I? All right. Well, let me introduce you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Chat E. Tonight's guest is Daria Bachman. She's absolutely wonderful. A good friend of, excuse me, a good friend of mine's sister who I got to connect with, who is in a completely new profession that we have not discussed or talked about at all thus far. And she has had some crazy cool experience in places all over the world. So I am thrilled to have you. I'm so excited for you to share your story. We can go through your journey and just talk about what you're up to and what you do.
Awesome.
So I didn't really actually say it just now, but Daria's a travel blogger and she's up to some insanely sick things. So I don't know if you guys are ready. Do you want to take a second and kind of introduce yourself, say a little more than I just did?
Yeah, so my background goes to journalism originally. So this is what I have a degree in. And I absolutely love telling stories. So I have been telling stories for the last, 5-7 years since I've graduated. Mm-hmm. It's my passion, and it kind of took me all over the place. So I first started working as a journalist and then kind of went into marketing. And then from there, I really discovered that I want to be my own brand, as I'm sure people want to do that.
Yeah.
I really realized that along the way, and that's what I started doing, and it's been a pretty cool journey.
Yeah, no, it's super cool, and I feel like life itself is a story, and we all have our own, so it's really cool for you to get so much perspective and be able to share yours with the world,
Mm-hmm.
So very cool. So the name of Daria's brand is The Discovery Net, which is super cute, super clever. Where did you come up with the name?
So when I decided to do a blog, I started writing down all those names. And this is one of the biggest and most difficult steps of the process when you want to do a website, your brand, you need to come up with a name. But then you need to check if that name is taken or not. Right. So I came out with that list, and the names were pretty, I would say, unoriginal.
Right.
So there's a lot of repetition, and when I looked online, many of those names were either taken or like a combination of that word was taken. And I really kind of sat down and started, thinking about everything. And I like going places that are, more away from like the well-trodden path. So I enjoy doing things that are undiscovered. And
Right.
I would like to, I like going places like that more so than I like, going to like a standard touristy staples where
True.
everybody
Me
goes.
too.
So
Hmm.
that's kind of how I came up with that name.
I think that's so cool because every place that you're going to and that you're traveling, you're searching for new places. It's cool to be a tourist if you're in a place that you've never been, especially the stuff that I
Exactly.
brought up about. Like if you go to Paris, you are going to want to check out the Eiffel Tower and things like that, but you also want to look for things that not everybody knows about that the
Yeah.
locals would be like going to, or
Yeah.
people who have grown up there. So I think that's super cool. And the discovery nut is like clever and cute because it's like you're searching for things, but you're also nuts about it, which proves your passion. And on all my episodes, I like, especially when like people bring this forth, I emphasize how important like passion is behind the things that you're doing
Yeah.
because like if you're not passionate about something, then why are you going after it? That's like, you know, gonna help you reach your goals because you love it so much. You're not doing it just for like money or something, but you're doing it because you love it.
Absolutely.
So, pretty sick, pretty cool, but you have had a lot of travel experience. So, you want to talk a little bit about the places you've gone or the places that you've lived?
Yeah. Well, I've
Her
traveled.
pictures, guys, on her blog and on her Instagram. You'll have to check everything out. Her website's well on its way, but she has been to some really cool places and she takes some really sick pictures.
Yeah. So, what do you want me to talk about where I've been and where like my favorite places? Do you want me to talk about where I've lived?
I guess you kind of pick and choose. I guess let's start with the places that you've lived. So I guess places that you've been for like a long period of time that you've really got to experience because you weren't just there for vacation. And then you can talk to us about your favorite places that you've been or any recommendations.
Yeah. So I've lived in Bali for a little bit. Unoriginal, I know.
That's cool. I don't think I knew that one. I don't know if you told me that one. That's
Uh,
so cool.
yeah, it was actually last year, so I got there in time before the travel industry shut down.
Right.
It was very interesting. It was very touristy, but I did my best and tried to go places beyond Bali in Indonesia that were a little bit more authentic, which is
Mm-hmm.
what I do as a discovery nut.
For sure.
So it was really cool. I was teaching environmental issues because people in Bali, unfortunately, are not educated on things like, how to dispose of trash,
Mm.
what is happening with all the plastic when it gets to our oceans or when you throw it on the ground. When you throw it on the ground, it eventually does get into the ocean. So I was working with very young children and I was putting together a program to educate them about the environment and to basically teach them to treat things with respect and kind of tell them that, hey, you guys are living here, you got to take care of this place.
Right. Right.
So that was it. And aside from that, I took as much time as I possibly could to like really explore the place and see the culture and meet people.
Good for you.
So that was really interesting. And another place that I lived was Switzerland, but it was more for family because I do have a family there. So I spent
Okay.
3 months, 3.5 months.
Uh-huh.
That was really nice. Very different experience. Very cool. Beautiful country.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's super cool. And so, I mean, both the cultures are both on different continents, so I can only imagine. I've never been to either of those two places yet, but I can only imagine how different they are. And then they speak English, but that's not the first language in either country, is it? In Switzerland,
No,
French.
it's not. It's yeah, it's French, German, Italian. That's the official languages.
Okay, yeah, okay. Someone just asked, how many languages do you speak personally?
I speak Russian, which is my native language. I speak English, which is a language that I've been speaking for the last 11 years
Right.
since I've been here. I speak Polish, and I also speak pretty basic Spanish that I've been learning for the last 1.5, 2 years. And the recent trip to Mexico was very, very beneficial.
That's so cool. Wait, so Val just asked, tell us about you were living in Russia. So you said you've only been speaking English or practicing English for 11 years. So did you just move to the United States 11 years ago?
Yeah, so
I didn't
Valerie,
know that.
yeah, you know my sister. My sister moved a little bit earlier than I did. I moved
Yeah.
about 11 years ago, which was about the time that I started college here. So that was kind of why I moved. And
Wow.
I moved and I spoke English. It was good enough for me not to take any ESL classes.
Mm.
Really cool. So I kind of went straight to a community college where I got my associates, and then I went on to a university where I finished everything and got my bachelor's. So
Cool. Okay, awesome. I didn't realize that you hadn't lived in the United States for longer than that. That's so cool. Well, good for you. That's a
thanks.
lot of languages, girlfriend. When I was in Europe, when you'd meet people who are like European, they'd be like, "Oh, I speak like 4 languages fluently," and I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
"That's like so cool. I wish that they enforced that more here, but that's definitely not a thing. Maybe bilingual, but most people are not speaking more than two."
Well, I mean, it's very different here. See, it's like in Europe, they're so close to each other. You either you travel or you have a family or you learn this
Right.
language in school. It's a lot more interconnected as opposed to the
Agreed.
United States just by itself, you know.
True. No, for sure, for sure. But seriously, some people would speak like 4 to 5 languages, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm so jealous. I wish. I think that's so cool. Wow. So, I know that you wanted to talk a lot more and do a lot of focus on branding this evening, which I think will be super beneficial because so many people don't know where to start with that, and it is much more of a process than we realize. But before we get into that, so you kind of explained with us or to us the places that you've lived for an extended period of time, but where have you like gotten to travel that you enjoyed the most? Like, where are the places that you've gone? Because you have gone to quite a few places, but where are the places that you've traveled that you've loved or what you would consider your favorites, especially having had so much experience?
I really loved New Zealand. It's incredible. If you
Where's
like
that?
outdoors, if you like things like, being in a camper van, road tripping, hiking,
I
if you
heard
like
that, yeah.
views, this is the place. And I highly recommend that you guys go there as soon as things are open, as soon as things get back to normal. You should go there because it is a place that I think everybody should visit once in their lifetime. And I think, especially if you like The Lord of the Rings, which was filmed there, you should definitely go there. It's just a really stunning as far as the landscapes go. I mean, you don't have to hike, obviously. You can just, see the views, and it's absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I felt the same way for Indonesia because Indonesia is a um, very much a developing country, and they have a lot of landscapes along with the beautiful coastline and the beaches, and the people are very warm and very welcoming. And I think that's part of the reason why everybody likes Bali so much because
Probably, yeah.
people keep saying that the people are absolutely the best in that place. um, Japan and Mexico are also some of my favorite places. Japan is just very um, modern. It's mysterious as far as the culture goes, at least for me. It's
Mm-hmm.
incredible to experience. It's probably one of the places that I would say unlike absolutely anything else culture wise.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
It's like you're in a different world. It's really fascinating. And Mexico, obviously, one of the favorite places.
You were just there like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
She was just there recently. That's so cool. I didn't realize I mean, I knew you travel a lot, but I didn't realize you've gone to like almost every continent.
Oh no, I haven't been to every continent. Like I still haven't made it to South America. Like the farthest south I've been is Costa Rica.
I want to
But
go to Costa Rica so badly.
it's incredible. Costa Rica is a beautiful country. It's the safest country in Central America.
Mm-hmm.
It's also one of the most eco-friendly countries in the world. They have very
Oh,
it's very popular for ecotourism. So if you want to go see reserves, if you want to see wildlife, if you want to go see sanctuaries, and otherwise just really enjoy green places with a lot of
mm-hmm.
sea and the beautiful coastline, that's the place.
Mm-hmm.
I believe about 30% of Costa Rica is protected. So
That's crazy.
you can't do anything as far as building or developing. It's just preserves nature, animals, all that stuff. It's incredible because they actually turned around quite a bit. They had a lot of deforestation, and they kind of took
Interesting.
the entire country. Really
Hmm.
cool.
Well, that is definitely on my bucket list, big time. Have you gone to Africa?
No. See, I haven't been on every continent.
I know, and Antarctica is like one you like want to try to get to eventually, but that's like the
Yeah,
last one for me. That's like I'll get there eventually, but that's like my last one, I think.
yeah. I think, yeah, South Africa is my bucket list for sure.
South Africa, I know.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, I had just started traveling, and when I was in Europe, and all this happened, but it's okay. Eventually, it'll be over, and we can travel. But Costa Rica's up there. I really want to go to Thailand and
Thailand.
Asia. That was my plan for this upcoming year, was to do Southeast Asia like all next summer. But I probably, have to wait a little longer. But that's okay. Happens. We'll get there. Now we
Yep,
just build our brand in the time being.
exactly.
So amazing that you've been able to travel so far. Like I said, guys, I'll link everything. For Daria, after this, you can check out her Instagram and her page. So many amazing pictures, so many amazing views. You'll be so jealous. I know I am, and I'm hoping her and I can take a trip together at some point in life where she can give me all the tips because it's amazing. Okay, so we're going to kind of dive into branding because there's a lot of learning that you've been doing recently, right? There's a lot of cool things going on in your life and also so many new things that you've encountered when starting your brand that you didn't realize you would have to do right away. And
That
I
is,
think this will be really enlightening and good for a lot of people because it's showing them that they can do it, but it's a process, and don't expect all of this stuff to happen overnight because you have to work for it.
hmm.
And I think you embody that really well. And
Oh. Well,
explain it.
I'm trying, but I don't think I'm a super great example. It's a process for sure. I don't think I'm quite at the end yet.
No, and that's okay because it's a work in progress, just like everything, right? So you said that you were into journalism, you love to tell stories. So how long ago did you start your blog? And yeah, just start with that.
I started my blog actually in very late 2018, almost 2019. It's crazy to think about it right now because it feels like
Yesterday.
such a long time ago. And I really didn't have any idea of what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to build my own brand, and B, I wanted to do something that relates to my biggest passion, which is travel.
Sure.
So I decided to build this website, and being a journalist and having some experience in marketing, I started doing things that were really like outside my realm. Okay, so I didn't know what it takes to make a brand. How do you go about a logo, your
Sure.
color, your content, your photos, everything that makes up your brand
Right.
and how people see you. So I started really in the dark, and I ended up buying some courses along the way because I just really struggled initially.
Sure.
I remember writing down these names, and I wrote down a bunch of names, and I was like, okay, I need to register my website. To register a website, you need a name. And I registered that name, and I'm like, oh, this is not the name that I want. And I ended
Right.
up scraping it and coming up with a discovery net. So I still have two domains for my website.
Oh, okay. I've done that before too, honestly.
But yeah, it's been a process. It's been a lot of learning and a lot of failing. Yeah,
For sure. Mm-hmm.
fail a lot when you begin things like that. And I also realized that you should never sit back and kind of rest on your laurels, I would say. So you need to be constantly looking, not just for competition, which is huge. I mean, and I'm not just saying travel, I'm just saying in general, blogging has become a very competitive niche because of its potential, I would say. So there's a lot of bloggers. If you look at cooking, if you look at yoga, if you look at I don't know, there's like niches such as finance, parenting, everything. It's
Literally
pretty
everything.
it's very saturated, and if you go online, you're going to see all sorts of blogs. You have to be creative, you have to collaborate with other people, which you absolutely have to do to survive and to grow your brand. And I did not know any of that when I started out, so I naturally made some mistakes, and I
Sure, of
had to
course.
redo things and learn how to do them and kind of get back on track.
Totally. No, and I think that it's so important that you brought up that the importance of a niche and kind of like focusing on one thing, right? Because I feel like that's kind of how you'll get yourself discovered and like be able to kind of like work through more versus like trying to do your blog on cooking and travel and sports and fashion. Like, and then it's too
Yeah.
overwhelming and they won't know where to put you.
And it's also very overwhelming for your audience because your audience just not gonna understand what you're about.
Right.
So you need to have a niche and then kind of work from there with sub niches and see how they fit in your overall theme.
Right. And I feel like you can't like if you focus on one thing, then you'll do better because if you're trying to focus on too many things, it becomes too overwhelming. So you can't like properly write about everything or like share tips about everything because it's too much. Like your brain's going in too many directions. That's how my brain works most of the time. So I'm saying this off of like personal reflection too, trying to like check off every box, but then it doesn't work out.
Right. No, it's totally true.
So a lot of people, and you and I talked about this the other day, a lot of people are in the same job, like are going after the same thing. When you're going into travel blogging or blogging in general, it can be pretty competitive because a lot of people would love to have that. It's like their dream job, you know, it'd be so cool. So what would you say differentiates you from other bloggers?
I would say that probably the fact that I write about places that not many other people cover, or
For sure.
I would say I write in a way that other people would not write. For example, I used to live in Las Vegas. I know, a very stereotypical place. A lot of people think it's all party. It's not. So what I do on my blog is I don't just say, hey, these are 10 places where you need to go in Las Vegas, right? Well, everybody knows. Most people would kind of know where to go in Las Vegas, more or less.
True.
So like I wrote this blog post about places in Las Vegas where you can go by car. And these places have nothing to do with what people typically do in Las Vegas. So
like
it's
gambling or partying or anything.
yeah. So everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people think that that's all there is to Las Vegas. So in my, I cover places like national parks near Las Vegas, scenic areas, places that are really off the beaten track, and do it in a way where people can say, hey, you know, I can rent a car and I can go to that place, let's say in the morning on a Sunday when not many people are out, right? Party night, Saturday. So what you do is you get in a car and you kind of go explore more and see what's out there as opposed to just doing all the staples.
Mm-hmm. Was the Seven Magic Mountains one of the things you wrote about?
That is one of the places that I covered in a post that I called the best photo spots. So it's a cool photo spot, but it's not in the blog post where I talk about my destinations. Like there's a blog post where I say these are the best road trips in Las Vegas, and you can find it in the blog, or I can send you a link if somebody else is interested. But yeah, actually wrote it, and the post is doing pretty well. I think it's got on page 1 on Google. Yay.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Good for you.
It took me quite a while because like I said, I did not know how to do this stuff from the very beginning. So I did it. It didn't go very well. I had to go learn things. I rewrote it, and then it kind of worked out.
That's amazing. Good for you. Oh my gosh. And it's all about that process, but I think that's a awesome thing to differentiate you from other people. And personally, if I were looking for a post to help me in finding like places to go, I would prefer something like you're saying, where it's like places not everyone knows about, than like the 10 top things to do.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And another thing is like, it's very saturated because there's so many websites, and I mean, not just blogs, I'm talking about very established websites. Like if you think about Lonely Planet or this big travel website that everybody goes to,
Right.
they typically have that stuff covered, over and over, and it's just not that original anymore.
Right.
So when you create your content, you need to keep in mind that when you go for things that are just really popular, you need to find a different angle. And it's
Yeah.
not travel, it's, anything. You need to really think about how you're going to make your content special and appealing, and something that is not like anything else out there. Well, I'm not saying that you need to be like super creative, but just think
Sure.
about
Yeah.
what makes you different.
No, I agree completely. I'm a teacher, and so, or I went to school for education, and like whenever I was student teaching, I was always trying to reinvent the wheel. So I was like, okay, I'll go home, I'll come up with this, I'll have these modifications, whatever. And they're like, Ellie, that stuff's already in the closet. Just modify it how you need it for this lesson, versus like trying to go home and make things so much harder for myself when I don't really have time to do that. Like I'll be up all hours of the night. You just reinvent the wheel. So it's kind of just finding something special, even if it's super simple, to make it your thing. And like you said, what differentiates you from other people. So no, that's awesome. And so when we were talking about it earlier and you were trying to come up with your name, you really have to think about it because there are a lot of things that are already taken and all of that. So what have you done to work to get your name out now that you have established yourself, like on both your Instagram and your website and all of that stuff? Like what have you done, whether it be social media, word of mouth, or like how have you gone about that?
So I have written for a number of websites to
That's cool.
build up my blog. So when you create content, you need to put it on your website, but it's not enough to put it on your website if you want to see really, see your content attract attention, grow, ultimately make money, because that's what the final goal is, right?
Right.
So for you to rank and for you to see your articles in Google, what you need to do is you need to grow your website by getting, nods. I would call it nods, or they're called backlinks from more established websites. So let's say if I write an article about 10 things to do in Denver, Colorado, and I want this article to get better traction, what I do is I go to a more established website, which is probably in a travel niche, I would guess, right? And I ask,
Right.
hey, can I work with you? I would like to write for you, and I would like to, create some content for you. But in order for me to do that, you're going to have to provide me with a ping to my website.
Right.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, no, yeah. So they would like, if you write the content, they would like link your website so that
Exactly.
if people read it, they're also checking you out.
Exactly. Yeah. So they ultimately put a link in that article to my website, so that's how you grow as a website.
Okay. Yeah.
And done is I've done a lot of outreach where I reached out to big websites, I reached out to Medium and big blogs, even small blogs, because when I really was in the very beginning, I everything could help me, so I wasn't picky as gotten over time because I've built up my website a little bit so it gets traction and it does get better audience
Right.
now. So I would create a list of websites and blogs and different organizations. I've been reached out to organizations that I want to write for,
Yeah.
and that I want to, I would say, associate with, because when you get a link from a certain website, you're instantly associated with that blog or website, whatever you're getting it from. And obviously, I got a lot of no's. I got no responses at all, but sometimes I would get a response, and that's how I would sort of introduce myself to other websites, bloggers, and people that were interested in working with me. So that's kind of how you get your name around. You get your name around by collaborating with others. That's probably my biggest tip. And typically, when people work with you, they start seeing your work, they see your social media, your Instagram, whatever else you're doing. So you need to make sure that your messaging and your content is consistent across all platforms.
Right. For sure.
You have to watch what you're putting.
I know, for sure. No, and I think that I did like a blogging boot camp a while ago. I think I told you this, and they were just saying, like, in the people that were writing it, they're like, we are willing to have people write for our site, but the thing is like, if what you send us is not good, or like if you're not putting in effort and up to our standards,
exactly,
we're not going to. So like, if you reach out to people and you're like, hey, I want to write for you, or like, this is what I'm trying to do, I think most bloggers are like, would love to help you, would be like there to support you. But if you're going to give them crap, if like you're going to give them crap and like they don't like it, or it's not like worth being on their site, then
yeah. I think I've written for one blog. I mean, pretty, I want to say medium sized for sure. And they specifically stated that first they were going to take your idea, okay, they could read it and they could accept it, and then you would write the actual content. But if they didn't like that content, actually turn it around even after it was written.
I know. Well, yeah, because styles don't always match up, and that's a problem, I think.
Yeah.
But it's also, I feel like you could oftentimes like pitch, I don't know if this is allowed, but you could pitch a similar article or the same thing, just like change it a little bit based off of the style of the blog that you're asking for them to put it up on. But if it's all travel, like, and that's the niche, then you could write a blog post and send it to 6 people, right? You put your heart into it, and someone, hopefully.
Yeah, see, the problem with that is not many blogs or websites actually accept that pre-written content. So mostly when you...
Because they want specifics. There's certain things that
well, not only they want specifics, they also want the exclusivity. So when I write to somebody and they say, so what are you going to do for us? I say, well, these are the 3 ideas that I have. And they say, okay, we don't really like any of these ideas. I don't think we're going to work together. So next time I can take these ideas and go to another website.
Right.
And propose those ideas. Well, just because I have never developed them, right? So they're just ideas.
True. And it's good to keep track of them, right? Probably have a notebook or something. I do that all the time. I just write everything down and then eventually use it. Yeah. True.
But if I write something and I get rejected, maybe I could take that content and go somewhere else with it. I'm not. No, I'm sorry. This is not actually a good example. If I don't want to confuse anybody.
No, it's all good.
If I write content for your website, you take it, and let's say I still have that idea, maybe I think I could spin it off a little bit. Okay, and I go to someone else with that idea, and they're like, okay, it sounds interesting. I am not supposed to give that content to anybody else.
Right.
Because that content now lives on your website. And I think some blogs, they even own rights to that work. So it's
true. Even if it's your work, you mean?
Yeah. They do give you credit and you get that ping to your website, but it's their property. So.
True. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a process, but I think that when it's your passion, like I said before, and you want to go after it, then you have to just keep pushing. even if you're told no, because that's going to happen sometimes. And it's just also understanding too that not everyone's style of writing is the same, not everyone's like vibe connects, and
Yep.
so that's kind of, you have to keep trying until you find someone, because most people really are trying to encourage you if
Yeah.
you connect in some way.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from everybody who's listening is really get out there and work with other people.
Yeah.
And not, it's cool to work with people in your comfort zone. It's cool to reach out to bloggers in whatever niche you're in, or even if you're on Instagram,
Yeah.
you should work with people outside your niche, because um, you don't know who they know, you don't know what they know as far as things that could help you grow, some advice. It's just really beneficial to build connections in every niche that you can.
True. That's good. I wouldn't even have thought of that. True. That's really important, and I think wonderful. When it comes to your website and you put in all this work and there's so many great things going on and you're connecting with these bloggers and doing all these things, your end goal oftentimes is to like be able to make money from your writing, right? Or like to get people to read it and do all these things. So when, with that intent in mind, how do you go about monetizing your work or finding ways to monetize your brand?
I think it starts with your content and the purpose of your content. You can't be just thinking about monetizing, I would say, after you wrote your content. Okay,
Right.
so you need to, I know it sounds very commercial and not what people probably want to hear, but when you write stuff, you need to do a keyword research, which is, I don't know how deep you want me to get into that, because it's a very big topic in itself.
Yeah, I
So
mean, just give like a because I feel like there's a lot of steps to this question. So maybe just kind of like a broad overview that like is in depth enough, but isn't too like what you know what I mean? Not too confusing.
yeah, so for example, people Google certain things, okay? And certain things get Googled more and certain things get Googled less.
Right.
If you go on Google and you start looking for things like how to grow on Instagram, how to build your blog, there's a pretty good chance that you're gonna find that a lot of people are looking for these things, okay?
Like millions. Yeah.
Like a lot of people. And then there's things that people might look for a little bit less. For example, how to find hashtags, for example.
Right.
This might not be as popular as how to grow on Instagram. And what you need to do is you need to find specific keywords that you put in your content that will help your content get on page one, ideally the top of page one.
Mm-hmm.
Problem with that is you need to have a very solid website with a pretty good authority, which we talked about earlier with pingbacks, for
True.
your content. Yeah, for your content to be able to compete, because the more competitive the word is, like the tougher it is for your blog to
Right.
get up there. So this is where all your content process should really start. This is
Right.
the number one step. You should never write content without doing it, because otherwise you're just wasting your time and you're not gonna get to
Yeah.
that uh, monetization step without doing it. If you just write about random things, it's just not gonna work. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And when you write about things, you need to think about that. Secondary thing that you need to be thinking about is, how am I going to monetize this article? I'm not sure how familiar you are with publishing programs, because there's programs that literally pay you to put ads on your website when you have a certain number of visitors. However, to get there, it's a process. Like I said, I'm not in.
Yeah. All of it.
I don't feel like making the money that are just not worth all the ads and all the distraction from my visitors.
Mm-hmm.
I can't justify it at this point financially, where the amount of traffic is not there where you can make a significant amount of money from the ads, where it's worth putting that in your content if it makes sense.
Yeah.
However, it is one of the ways to make money of your blog. And another way is affiliate marketing. And I'm
I was
sure
gonna
you've
say it.
heard a lot about it. Yeah, it's basically if I write something and you come to my website, you like what you read, and you read about, let's say, a certain tour, you read about a product, and you really like my description, you go and buy that product
Right.
because I wrote about it, and that's how I get paid. So
Right.
you're
What
thinking
is the
about
percentage off of things like that normally?
like percentage of how much money you can make.
Yeah, like one time, a good one I thought was in Europe, they have like the tickets through Omeo, you know, Omeo, OMIO, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like a big one. So when I was like, oh, I think I want to blog, I like applied for their affiliate program because I was like, I use them all the time. It's super efficient. The prices are good. Like, got this. Then I didn't start a blog ahead. So, but I think I got accepted for it. So like things like that, because so many people um, are using it and it would be
Mm-hmm.
beneficial. How does that work? Do you know? Is it like a percentage thing or a couple
Yeah.
dollars per sale?
So you get a certain cut of the sale. For example, like I have a program that I'm participating in, which I think everybody knows. It's called Booking.com. So Booking.com has an affiliate program, and I have some content that mentions hotels in
Okay.
places.
Uh-huh.
So if somebody goes, like I had people who went to that link because I talked about a specific hotel, they might have booked that specific hotel, or they could have just booked something on that website.
But
But
because they went through your ping link.
yeah, and that's how I got paid. But um,
That's cool.
things like that certainly don't pay the best. They only pay a small percentage. Like for example, Amazon has cut a lot of its affiliate programs where it's like, I mean, they've got revenue, not revenue, but they've got the percentage of what they give people who
Mhm.
are their affiliates to, I don't know, 90%. Literally, it's very, it's very little.
You
And
said 90%?
yeah, they've cut like,
Wait, so they'll give you 90%? No, they'll
no,
give you
no,
90%?
they've cut it by 90%. Sorry, I
So
didn't
you
say,
get 10%.
yeah,
So if it was like $20, then it's like $2.
yeah, it's very little. I'm
Which
just
is crazy because it's not like they need any more money.
No, no, and that's exactly why I'm saying you need to be looking very carefully at what each program has
Right.
and how you can benefit from it, because some of these programs, they have very small commissions, and if your commission is that small, is it even worth for you to have that on your website? That's kind
Right.
of something that you should ask yourself.
Right.
Like there's Omeo in travel, there's hotels.
Sure.
There is a niche that's called blogging about blogging, where people literally write about how to start a blog. They talk about the best blogging tools, and there's affiliate programs for blogging platforms. There's affiliate programs for email marketing. That stuff pays better for sure. I can tell from my experience. And also there's other niches such as, I guess, cooking, or even see, I'm not in that area, so
Yeah. There's like literally everything, right? You
there's
can
everything.
find a means for like a niche in almost any area. Gardening is one you said to me the other
Exactly.
day.
Right. You
Literally
can
everything.
write an article for your website about gardening, and you can put links from, I'm not sure, Target products,
Yeah.
whatever they have,
Right.
and through their affiliate programs, if somebody buys it, you get paid. I don't know what they pay though. All I'm
Right.
trying that there many stores, many businesses have these programs.
Sure. But you also don't only have to be working with one affiliate program. Like you could be working with Amazon, Target. I feel
Yeah,
like it's more so when you were saying like you have to pick and choose which ones are worth it based off of if you're wanting to monetize how much you would make, but it's more so because you're writing an article kind of for them too to promote yourself, right? And so like if you're going to take time out of your day to write about their product and you're making literally $1 and like only
yeah.
6 people buy it, you know, it's like is it worth it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it comes down to. Like, if you write a review article and you're like reviewing these products, you're saying, oh, this versus this, and you kind of give this, like, in travel, what's very popular is like people write about travel insurance. Like, a lot of travel bloggers have that.
I
People write,
mean, that's smart, especially if you have during COVID, but I feel like they're being a little more flexible in general right now. But
yeah, but that's like, because so many people have done it, it's become like overly competitive. And if you literally Google the best travel insurance, or let's say you want to compare two types of travel insurance, you're going to get so much information. It's like super
overwhelming.
graded. So what I'm saying is you need to be a little bit unique about what you're writing, and not to be too unique where you're not going to get any traffic because nobody's looking for this. But try not to compete with things that
Yeah,
are too competitive, you know?
right. I mean, it makes sense. It's definitely, guys, one of the things that's so great um, about this conversation is just understanding that when you find something that you love, you should go for it and you can do it. But it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time and effort. So just be prepared and don't get discouraged if it doesn't work out right away, because that's all a process. But honestly, most things that people want at this point really are kind of competitive. So it really just comes, and anyone can accomplish any dream and do whatever they want to make happen. But it's all like within yourself. You have to like allow yourself to push hard enough to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Yeah.
I'm like raising my voice. I'm starting to yell. I'm like, you can do it. You got this.
Yeah.
But, so when you are writing articles, I guess they all differ depending on what you're writing about. But how is there like a certain requirement when, or like, do you give yourself a certain requirement of how long you make them? Because I know that's kind of a thing. Like, I feel like some people are willing to read a lot, but other people like short and quick and kind of getting to the point is beneficial. Like 1,000, like a page. And yeah, that one's first. That's good.
So it is not the length, but it is the substance, I would say. So that
Substance, yeah.
it really matters.
I
Uh,
agree.
that being said, the more juicy, the longer your content is, provided that
More juicy.
yeah, provided that it has valuable information to your audience,
Uh-huh.
and it's not just blabbing and
Right.
saying things that are repetitive. It's better to have an article that is at least 2,000 words for
Oh,
ranking.
really?
Yeah, it's not always the case.
Right.
Writing an in-depth article on a topic, and you really want your people to enjoy the article, get valuable information, uh, share it on social media,
Sure.
it is better to write at least 2,000 words than it is to write a very thin content.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a very quick read. Plus, when people like your content, they stay in your website, they
Or they
share
come back for other advice in
things
the future.
back. Yeah. So the longer they scroll, the better it is for you. That's why it's
True.
better to read more, as long as this content provides value and it's not, you know, a type of content that really is not bringing anything new.
No, I get that. I completely agree. And honestly, 2,000 words. How long is that? Like a page and a half? 2 pages?
See, I don't really measure my content in pages anymore because I'm so used to just counting words.
Yeah. I'm just kind of like visual. So and that's just like it really isn't that long, because I feel like some people though, if you were
No,
writing like a 4,000 word something, you might lose people because it's
you
too
can.
long.
For sure you can. It's 4,000 is for sure very long. But I feel like even from my own writing, 2,000 words is like this optimal amount. It seems long. I know it seems extremely long, especially if you don't have any writing background. It might be even difficult. Once you create an outline and
Mm-hmm.
you know what you're going to cover, and you know that you're not going to be repetitive and just saying things that are not necessarily new,
Right.
with an outline, everything becomes much easier.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to start a website, you want to create content, do not start without an outline. That's my biggest advice for you.
I think that's Wonderful. And then you like don't really miss anything because you like plan what you need to
Hmm.
include, right?
I think many blogs, many websites today, they try to do like listicles where you say, hey, these are 10 best things to do, I don't know, in January in Colorado, whatever. And when people see it on their phones, which a lot of traffic nowadays is from mobile phones,
Right.
they scroll it and they see these bullet points. It makes it a lot easier to read, and it makes it a lot easier for them to memorize.
True.
So,
Yeah. No, I think that that's key. Super, super key. And having those, I've done, or like you were talking about earlier, like the keyword stuff too, is like making sure that it's like pretty consistent within your work, right? So people can find it too when they are
yeah,
searching things up.
it's there's specific tools for that. I mean, and I honestly can talk quite a bit about it.
Right.
I don't know if everybody wants to listen to this, but it's very important part of blogging or running a website if your goal obviously is to monetize.
Right. Right. Yep. And it's all part of the learning process, but then you get there and then it makes sense, right?
Yep.
Starts to click and you get it. Well, so you said normally your articles when you are writing have a lot of substance. They're around 2,000 words long. How long does it generally take you to write an article or write some of your content?
See, I write about things that I know or I've been to, I should say.
Yeah,
And
like
I,
personal experience.
exactly, and I think that's a pretty good strategy. I don't think people, unless you have somebody write a guest post for you,
Mm-hmm.
that you like and trust, you should not be writing about things that you have no personal experience because
Sure.
A, it's not your brand, you don't
Right.
know what you're talking about, and if somebody starts asking you questions, you're just not gonna be able to answer them.
Or at least not honestly, right?
Yeah, and it's not really authentic to be doing it because,
No.
I mean, obviously, if you're an established blog, you can have people write about things if they have a lot of experience, and yeah, you can have these experts, which is why guest posts is such a good way to connect with other bloggers.
Mm-hmm.
But when you create your own content, you should really aim for as much authenticity as possible. And
I
I'm
love
sorry,
that word.
question?
What'd you say?
What was the question?
How long does it generally take you to
Okay, how
write?
long does it take me? So I create an outline. I normally know what I'm writing about because I'm writing about the place or
Somewhere you've just experienced or you've been and like giving
just
your feedback.
write about things that are normally pretty fresh in my head. So if I write about a
Right.
specific,
Makes sense.
I don't wait too long until I, go back and do something else. I create an outline. Okay, so these are the bullet points, and I go through several drafts. I use checks for grammar, plagiarism, just in case. Well, you have to
Yeah, of course.
make sure that you don't copy somebody else's content, which you shouldn't be doing anyway. Right. um, and I go through about 2, 3 drafts. It takes me, on average, about 2, 3 days to write like a good article with, I would say, 2,000 words. That's a medium length. So if you
I feel
write,
like that's not too bad. And that's like, I feel like you also are very on top of it. So right after you're like excited to write because you like it so much, right?
yeah,
So it's like you get going and then it just spews out. But I think it's also important that you're talking about authenticity and talking about drafts being a
yeah,
thing because
yeah,
I think for a lot of people sitting through all that is really challenging.
it can be, and I totally understand. I mean, I can probably do another workshop, another live
Yeah.
on it. Who's gonna like want to listen to this because it can be pretty technical, and writing can be challenging for a lot of people. I know.
Yeah.
I've done things where I help people, I've tutored, but you should be ideally writing about something that you at least enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Because if writing is not your jam, at least you're gonna enjoy the topic, which is gonna make it a lot easier. So
Sure.
sure that you don't just write to get paid, right? So everybody wants to get paid. You want to monetize, you want to get money, but make sure that what it is something that you really like.
No, for sure. I agree. And that's so necessary because then everything will just like come to you and it'll make so much more sense versus writing about something that you know nothing about or you don't care for.
Yeah.
It's like a waste of your time. Well, it's super exciting how much you've learned and that you've gotten to go to so many cool places and travel, and I know that's what you are going to continue to do as soon as we can. So I'm
Yeah.
super glad that we were able to connect. Do you have any tips for people looking to get into blogging and creating their brand and all of that kind of all that jazz?
Yeah, I would say start with yourself. Look at
Good
who
luck,
you are
girlfriend.
and realize that you are special.
Heck yes.
So it's very easy to associate yourself or try to model your brand after somebody else, but this is not what you should be doing.
Nope.
You look at your passions, your experiences, your personality, and just really realize that you are your brand.
Mm-hmm.
Else to tell you otherwise, because so many people use other bloggers not just as inspiration, but literally try to copy, I want to say, what others are doing, and you're you're not going to be another person, so there is no point in that.
Yeah, but it's hard.
It is very hard.
It's hard not to. So she's not saying that
Mm-hmm.
this is easy because it's hard, but it's really important to remember, especially when you're just starting or like well on your way and then you see people who are doing really well, and then I like will look up how long have they been doing this because I'm like, what? But a lot of
Yeah.
people have been working at the stuff that they're really good at for like 5+ years, 10+ years.
Exactly. It's not a process where you're like, this is my brand, boom.
No way.
No. It's a very long, continuous process where you have to constantly revise things and be ready to change. When I started my blog, I knew what my name was and I knew why I had that name.
Right.
And I had my core values.
Sure.
But no idea about things like branding or website, what kind of message I really wanted to convey. As a matter of fact, I can tell you that I wrote my first content after I saw what I thought were cool articles on somebody else's website.
Yeah.
And I just like wrote a bunch of random articles like throw all this pasta on the wall and like kind of see what's gonna stick around. And this is absolutely not what you should be doing. So you need
gotta
to
figure it out though. It's all like part of the
it is
process and the trial and error, all of it, right?
right. But in the end, what happened is I went to my website and I looked at it and I'm like, okay, this article absolutely does not fit here.
Right.
I took it out. This article has to go. And this article fits really well, so I'm going to leave it here.
Right.
And that's exactly what you do as a brand as you go along.
No, I think that's great. And I'm glad that you believe in yourself so much because it's setting you up for extreme success. Dari's helping me plan my future trips next year if we're ever allowed to travel again. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. I know it'll go swimmingly. But I mean, no, it's really good to have someone to reach out to when you want to travel and figure things out. And I really think that as you establish yourself and as your brand grows, there's so many different cool things you can do with it. Like we talked about, we won't say anything, but there's so many cool things that you'll be able to do in the future.
There are. There really are.
And so many doors will open for you to connect with people and be able to go to all the places, to Antarctica and South Africa, and all the places we haven't got to go to yet.
Yeah, just don't forget that it is work, and but it is all about the journey. Remember that you have to enjoy the journey, even though it might not be easy at times.
100%, always. Where can everyone find you if they're searching for you? I'll tag everything at the end.
Yeah, so all my tags are under the Discovery Nut. So it's the Discovery Nut for Instagram, Twitter, which I don't use that much.
Yeah, I don't use it either.
Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and to a certain extent Facebook. However, I'm not overly active on Facebook because I have the two platforms that I'm focused on are Instagram and Pinterest.
Pinterest is cool though, girlfriend. I literally
Yeah.
find everything on Pinterest. I love it. How do you actually? Quick side question. Now I just thought of one. How do you establish yourself on Pinterest? You that's where your articles are.
Yeah, so Pinterest is a visual search engine. So some people think of Pinterest as social media. It is not a social media, and it's never been. People just like posting photos. They take photos from Instagram, other platforms, and they leave comments. However, the purpose of Pinterest is to drive traffic to your website.
I use it all the time.
Yeah, it's a great tool for saving ideas. It's a great tool if you have a blog on things like DIY, fashion.
Love DIY.
Yeah, DIY, fashion, home design is very popular on Pinterest. However, other niches like travel. What else? What else is popular on Pinterest?
Food.
Food. Oh yeah, that's
Food,
a huge one.
cocktails. Lots of, I'm a teacher, like I said, so lots of crafts and like stuff for kids for school
Yeah.
is so popular. Like I find so many activities, or I'll like print one or like get an idea and then switch it and make it my own, like reinventing the wheel. But I find so many ideas on Pinterest all the time.
The ultimate goal is to obviously not just have people save your photos, but which is why you should not be posting just photos, right? If you're using it for business, but to have people go to your website.
Sorry, go ahead.
Which is an entirely different topic also.
Well, if people like, if you're on Pinterest and someone clicks on your website just off of Pinterest, you don't make money from that, do you? Through Pinterest?
Well, they click on the pin, a photo that they see, right? So they think it's cool, or it's like their curiosity is piqued, right? So they click on that pin, and if they go to my article, they read it, and they buy something from it. Yeah, I do make money. So it's like a referral tool, basically. It's your job to get people to your website.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever like bought anything though. I think I'm usually looking for like a recipe, and I'll buy stuff obviously at the store that it told me to buy, but I'm not buying anything through it.
For a lot of people, and that's what and why the misconception is certainly to this point is people think it's just for visual inspiration, right? So people just save dresses, DIY products.
So many things.
But when you have a website where you're selling things, which is what you should be doing on your blog, you should be directing people to your website, and you should be clever about what you actually put on your Pinterest, if that makes sense. Or how you create your pins. Like I create my pins from scratch. I try to create some sort of curiosity for people to be able to like, wow, I want to go there, or this is really cool sort of advice or destination. You put a certain type of like a wording on your pin, because sometimes you just see photos, right? And it's not what it should be ideally, but you put the description or your headline and you put a photo, and that's how you sort of like drive people to your website. So
well, there is so much that goes into it, but it's all such good stuff. I still will continue to use Pinterest, and now I think we'll like look into things even more to know, because I love supporting small businesses. I do it all the time, but I definitely use, that's like my main one. They should find a way that like if anyone just clicks on your link, that you get paid for it. So eventually they'll do that. They definitely have a lot of money to be able to do that.
Oh yeah, and Pinterest is I think it's one of the fastest growing platforms, I believe, because it's
so cool. People are so creative. Like
yeah.
And the thing is too is like you sometimes you like think you came up with a good idea. Someone already did it. Not always, but like a lot of the time people are.
A lot of times, yeah.
I'm like, dang it. Well, Daria, thank you so much for being here this evening. Like I said, you were full of so much knowledge and shared so many great things. I will tag the Discovery Net to our chat, and we will be in contact, and you are amazing.
All right. Thank you so much. I enjoyed the chat. If anybody has any questions,
please,
you're welcome. I'm very easy to get a hold of, and I respond very quickly.
Yeah, so definitely, like I said, her Instagram and everything will be linked below. Feel free to reach out, and that was really awesome and personable and authentic, which you talked about, for you to just say that, because not everyone feels comfortable doing that. So, yeah, let's start booking our next trip, girlfriend.
Yep, for sure.
All right, sounds good. Have a great night.
You too. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.